Hey everybody, welcome to the video. My name is John. Thanks for checking out the channel. Today I want to cover my Q1 sales data for COMC. Since you're watching the channel, you probably already know what COMC is, but let me just take a quick moment for folks that may be new to the sports card hobby. COMC is one of the largest online marketplaces for sports cards, comics, and collectibles. It's also a place where you can sell your own cards. Also, if you're new to the channel, I will tell you guys that I just started flipping or reselling cards on COMC as of January 2023. Therefore, this video and future videos related to this topic, they should be giving you an idea or a perspective of how flipping cards on COMC is from the new startup type of point of view. Okay, let's go ahead and dig into some of the monthly numbers. January of 2023, 18 total days of selling. A couple of milestones. The first card I listed on COMC was on the 13th of January. Now, this is something that I was thinking about earlier in January, but I did not officially pull the trigger until the 13th. And I did not get my first sell until the 21st. I did walk into this very apprehensive, not necessarily wanting to fully invest or commit, and so I went slow. You will see, taking a look at some of the monthly sales data, I only listed 17 total cards in the month. Part of that was my disbelief. Part of that was the selling aspect was brand new to me. Selling specifically on COMC was new to me, and I didn't have a good strategy. So hopefully this video will maybe give you guys a little bit of an advanced head start. Again, point of view from the information that I'm giving you is all from kind of the new guy, the new seller, the new COMC portfolio or store, and it's all from a flipping perspective. So I am not sending cards from my collection at this point. That may change in 2023, but at this point, all of these cards were purchased on COMC, relisted, and resold. Those 17 cards, 14 of those were baseball, 3 of those were NFL cards, and I spent out of my own pocket $58.36 to get those 17 cards. We did sell 2 cards in the month. Again, I didn't give myself a ton of time in the month of January to buy and sell. Those 2 cards were both baseball cards. I did get a gross profit of $20.75. For any of my younger viewers and or folks that just aren't very familiar or comfortable with kind of business lingo or sales type lingo, gross means that is what a buyer bought the cards from me for. So 2 cards, I end up making $20.75. COMC fees. This is, if you've watched any other COMC videos, COMC fees are one of the most debated topics, specifically with folks that want to talk about selling on COMC versus selling on eBay. I have sold on eBay. I have not done it at scale. That said, one of the things that I hate doing is the shipping logistics as well, taking on some of the risk of people returning the item that may be damaged, saying that they never got it, dealing with returns just in general. Most of that is completely avoided using COMC. My net profit. So net profit is the dollars that I got essentially put in my pocket after I sold the 2 cards, and I take away the fees and I take away the cost of the 2 cards. I was left with $7.57 or a 38.3 return on my investment. I will also reference that 38.3 as my my net profit margin. Now, I did say that I took that $7.57, put it in my pocket, not literally. Every dollar that I make in 2023 with flipping cards on COMC will be 100% reinvested into other cards. So I am not officially taking any sort of profit from these cards. I am just essentially reinvesting the monies. Items that I see valuable that I want to share on these videos. and I'll talk through them just briefly here. The average sold item sell-through rate. What is a sell-through rate? That is essentially from the day that I listed the cards for sale to the day I sold them, how much time did that take? Now, I only sold 2 cards, so I listed those 2 cards, and essentially those 2 cards sat in my store, my online COMC portfolio, for 10 days on average before another buyer came and bought those 2 cards. Additionally, I want to talk about average sold item price. This will help me gauge as we go throughout 2023. It'll help me gauge what price point buyers are the most interested in buying cards at. Now, January was high. You'll see as we go through the other months, this number will come down. But the 2 items that I sold, the average price of those 2 items was $10.38. That said, I believe as we head into the 4th month of the year, I have a pretty good idea of where I want my sold item prices or my listed item prices to be. We'll talk about that in a future slide here. Let's take a look at February. February, I purchased an additional 55 cards, 16 of those being baseball, 1 of those being basketball, playing around with the vintage basketball space. By the way, not a fan at this point. That's something we'll talk about again in a future slide. 2 NFL cards. 36 golf cards. Yes, golf cards, golf. I know the marketplace fairly well. Of those 36 cards, like 96% of those cards were Tiger Woods, and they are all very low dollar, like $1 Tiger Woods cards. That said, I wanted to play around with the, purchasing some golf inventory, see exactly how active that marketplace is. You'll see a little bit as we kind of move throughout the sales data for February, March. That said, those 55 cards, they ran me $172.44. Again, some of those dollars were dollars that I invested directly out of my pocket. Some of those dollars were rolled in from my margin that I reinvested. Taking a look at the sales data, we had 13 total cards that sold in the month of February. 9 of those being baseball, 3 of those being NFL. I did sell 2 golf cards, so I only sold 2 of the 36, but I want to be very clear here. Those golf cards I bought like the last day of the month. So those 2 sales, those 2 Tiger Woods cards that sold in the month, I literally owned those cards for less than a day. And owned being a relative term, they literally sat in my store for less than a day. The gross profit margin for the month was $61.32. I did pay an additional $3.07 in transaction fees, and my net profit for the month was $16.25. My rate of return, or my net profit margin, was 31.3%. Take a look at the sell-through rate, 15.5 days, so we increased. So those 13 cards essentially on average sat in my store for 15 days, so almost 2 weeks before they sold. Average sold item price decreased from the $10, almost $11, all the way down to $4.75. Why is that? Well, I listed a lot of I purchased and relisted, is the more accurate way of saying that, cheaper cards. A number of those golf cards are dollar cards. Some of those were even less than $1. Take a look at March. March, I added an additional 133 cards. Now, I want to make sure it's very clear. The thing that I easily found out as we went through January and February and as I headed into March, I realized I need inventory. If you're going to do this at any sort of scale and make this worth your time, you have to have inventory. Even making a net profit margin of 30%, unless you're listing $1,000 cards, which I don't know how fast those would sell, but at the price points of the cards that I am selling, I need a ton of inventory, way more inventory than I have now. We'll talk about some goals at the very end of this. That said, I purchased 133 cards. 112 of those were baseball. 8 of those were NBA. 9 were NFL. 4 of those were additional golf cards. The out-of-pocket costs and or the net profits that I reinvested, I was into those 133 cards, $433.93. Let's take a look at the sales data. As you can see, we finally ramped up. We start making some traction as we move into March. 70 total cards sold. 49 of those were baseball, 2 of those were basketball, 9 of those were football, and 10 of those were golf cards. Gross profit for the month was $352.59. I paid $17.63 in fees. My net profit was $97.72. Profit margin ended up being 31.1%. Again, staying north of the 30% mark, which was a goal initially that I set out for myself. I may be looking to adjust that. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Let's take a look at the sell-through rate. These numbers are green. Green is good. 12.7 days. So my sell-through rate, the amount of time the cards sat in my store came down. That's awesome. That means I'm finding the right cards to sell. My average sold item price increased, not a ton, but it did increase all the way up to $5.04. And as I take a look at the 3 months, I can easily tell you at this point in time, the cards that I want to target, the price points I want to list cards at are between $3 and $10 and no higher than generally $20. Right now, my store, I want to be between $3 and $10. So we're kind of hitting that mark right at that $5 mark. I'm perfectly happy with that. Certainly, I will make $5 bills all day. Now it's about volume. I need to get more volume in my store. Take a look at the Q1 totals. 205 total cards were listed. I spent $664.73 to get those 205 cards. I sold 85 total cards in the quarter, 60 baseball, 2 basketball, 11 football, and 12 golf cards. My gross profit was $434.66. Fees were just shy of $22, and my net profit was $121.55, or a 31.3 rate of return. Sold item sell-through rate, or average sold item sell-through rate, was 13.1 days, so less than 2 weeks. So 85 cards I sold, and from the moment I listed them to the moment they sold, it took less than 14 days on average. That's awesome. That number will normalize out as we get throughout the year, but certainly you do not want that number to be 90, 120, 180 days. You're essentially buying cards, you're investing money, and you're not seeing that money come back to you. You want that number to be as small as possible. I'm perfectly happy with the 13 days as we sit here at the 3-month mark. My average sold item price was $5.11 over the 3 months. Perfectly happy with that. Again, now it's just a volume game. If I can replicate, instead of selling 205 cards, instead of selling 85 cards, if I could sell 8,000 cards, we would be sitting in a wonderful net profit. Beer money invested. So beer money, I do literally consider the dollars that I took out of my pocket and invested into this whole project, and will continue to invest into this project throughout the year. This is just beer money. I would rather be putting the money towards this project this year than investing it into beer money. Now, yes, I still have my own beer money that I like to spend every so often on a nice bubbly brew. That said, I did invest $407 out of pocket of my own beer money for this project. I've made $121 of that back, so I'm currently sitting at break even at $286. I will be very crystal clear. I do not expect that my total dollars invested will remain $400. Quite honestly, I would go double that total dollars invested if I could find the inventory I want tomorrow. I do believe that COMC is a great platform to flip cards on. If I can make 20 to 30% net profit, if I can do that in under 14 days, quite honestly, if I could do that closer to 7 days of sell-through rate, I have no problem selling $5 cards. I would double my beer money invested tomorrow if I could find the right inventory. That said, this is a number we will be tracking. It is always interesting to understand when that break even hits. And at some point, I do fully expect to break even and eventually become profitable. So what's next? Expanding to more modern cards. This is an area that I've already started kind of doing. Now, I only listed when I was pulling this together that I recently started buying some very low dollar Topps Chrome refractor cards. Those were 2022 baseball Chrome refractors and some Prism refractors from Topps Chrome. I've sold a handful of those already. I only bought very select names, the Mookie Bettses, the Otanis and Trouts, Yordan Alvarez. So very selective names on what I was purchasing there, and I invested very low dollars there. But I've already seen a number of those sell. So I do think that there is a marketplace there, and it is a marketplace I will continue to explore. Above and beyond that, I've also been buying some 2023 rookie cards and looking for very quick, low ROI arbitrage deals and selling those cards in hours instead of days. So we'll talk about that just here in a moment. That said, moderate success selling lower risk, low dollar cards. So that is what I'm seeing. Modern quarterbacks. Most of the NFL cards that I've purchased and relisted, looking to flip, and have sold are vintage, specifically Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach. I am going to look at the Josh Allens and the Pat Mahomes cards. I do think that there's opportunity, and I think right now is quite honestly probably the right time to buy. I also will flirt around, and to be totally fair, I have already purchased a Jordan Love card with the Green Bay Packers and resold that card within just a couple of days. So I will be looking at a couple of the rookies from last year and or the last couple of years, as well as the incoming class, and then kind of your bigger names that are more sustainable at this. The Herberts, the Allens, and the Mahomes come to mind off the top of my head. I will be looking to potentially buy some of their Prism super shiny cards. So this is a marketplace I do fully expect that I will move into. Prospects. Baseball prospects probably don't have the knowledge base right now, but I am trying to learn where the great arbitrage deals are at, but I'm not 100% there. That said, hot 2023 rookie cards, specifically Adley Rutschman, Riley Green, the Gunnar Hendersons. Some of those cards I have purchased and resold, specifically Adley Rutschman. We are already past opening day. He had a wonderful opening day, and during opening day, during the game, I was buying and selling cards within minutes. Now, my rate of return was not 30%. My rate of return was closer to 15% on those cards, but it seemed to be the hot card of the moment. I was willing to take on a lower ROI because I seen them as low-risk cards. I think in total, for the first part of April, end of March actually, for opening day, I think I maybe bought a dozen cards. I've sold 10 of the 12 with much lower profit margins. Hall of Fame autographs. I did delve into this, only one card. I did buy a baseball Hall of Fame auto. It was a Topps Tier 1 card. I got it at a wonderful price. I fully expected and really bought it with the intention of pulling it into my PC. It was a Hall of Famer autograph that I do not have an autograph of that player. Specifically, it was Jim Race, so it's kind of a mid-tier Hall of Famer, not necessarily the guy that you think first and foremost of. But I got the card for so cheap, I decided to relist it, and I sold it within 24 hours. So this may be an area where I continue to expand as we go throughout 2023. Modern NBA cards, modern GOATs, the Kobes, the LeBrons, the Currys. You see this is in red. I don't know that this is a marketplace that I'm going to play in until the second half of the year, but I am really spending some time seeing, investigating, exploring this marketplace. That said, don't know when I will go into this marketplace fully, but it is a marketplace that I am entertaining. I've already mentioned this a little bit. Less focus on my ROI, my rate of return, or my return on investment is actually what that means. But my profit margin, my net profit margin. If you have an ability to take less profit, less greed, and sell cards faster, sometimes that's a win-win. And so I am continuing to look for those opportunities. I may look to try and drop from 30 to 20%, and we will talk about that now. Let's just talk about goals, 2023 goals. Break even, year one. I'm on track. There is that little star next to that. As I've mentioned, I fully expect that I will be investing more money out of pocket. If that is the case, then I may not hit this in year one. That said, if I was to invest no other money out of pocket, I fully believe I'm on track to hit this number. I clearly made $120 in the first 3 months. I've invested $400, so I'm already about $20 ahead of where I would want to be. That said, we may not hit this in year one because this will be a moving target, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Let's take a look at the next goal. Maintain an inventory over 100 items. This is complete. I did cross that volume. So there's over 100 items for sale in my store, and I never, hopefully, dip below that while maintaining great sell-through rates. So that means that I'm able to buy at a pace that equals what I can sell, and or potentially I'm buying more than I'm selling. But if I fully understand my sell-through rates and I'm fine with those sell-through rates, then I know eventually the cards will sell. Stretch goals. Get to over 250. I do believe that one is possible. And if I could be there tomorrow, I absolutely would be. Because again, I can't sell what I don't have for sale. And really would love to get over 500 items kind of in the store or in the portfolio as we exit the year. Make $100 net profit in one given month. I was so close. I made $97 in the month of March. I do believe that this is very obtainable. Stretch goal was making $200 of net profit in a month. I do believe that's going to be a little bit difficult. Again, it's all about volume to get to that number. If I don't have it, I can't sell it. I do believe that 100, I might not get there in April. So far, April's looking a little slower than March. That said, you never know when things will pick up. But I do believe that we will cross that $100 net margin at some point this year, and we will push to try and get that stretch goal of over 200 in one given month. That said, I would like to make $500 total in 2023. We are clearly on track for this. We made $121 for the first 3 months, so we are about $4 off, and I do believe we will make that up. Stretch goal would be over $1,000 net profit for the entire year of 2023. We may get there. It's all about volume. Let's take a look at the return. I mentioned this a few times. My return on investment. Right now I'm over 30%, so I'm clearly on track. I may look to redo my strategy. Specifically, if I can move cards faster, I'm willing to take less return on the dollars that I spend. If I can't move them faster, then the 30% mark is where I would like to be. So this will be ongoing, but right now I'm on track for all three. Just know that the strategy could change as we move into April, May, and June. That said, this is what I've got for you guys. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to leave a comment below. Hit me up, john@chasingmajors.com. You can check us out at chasingmajors.com. Feel free to go check us out over there. That is our webpage. Above and beyond that, if you guys like this type of content, you guys want more of this type of content, feel free to like and subscribe. I also do, and most of my content is more PC-related videos. So if you guys are interested in seeing and following along with my PC, feel free to follow the channel and watch those videos. If you guys like more COMC type channels, or if you believe that this is an area of focus that would be of interest to you, hit me up, let me know. Leave a comment below or follow the channel. We may look to try and put out a COMC video monthly instead of quarterly. I don't know where this will end up going, but this is where we sit for the first 3 months of 2023. I hope you guys like this. If you have any questions, hit me up. We'll wrap it up here. We'll just chat with you guys in the next one.